let's watch this video. This is a really good video by Miles Cunningham, talking about what is the most attractive thing about men to women, and let's watch and then we'll break it down.
Men who do this are highly attractive to women. What qualities truly make a man sexy and attractive? The answer may surprise you, and no, it's not being 6 feet, having raging abs, or being super rich, so bear with me. I've asked various women what they truly look for, and they've all said something that really surprised me, and it's not being athletic, tall, or rich. One trait that seems to have the potential to trump all the other qualities I just listed is your masculinity. Women often say, I fell for him because he makes me feel like a woman. So when you're able to embrace your healthy masculine identity, that's when a woman can truly feel like a woman around you.
Well, there you have it. Okay, there you have it. Okay, I've been over here talking about masculine identity for how long now, and it's I guess it's finally catching on. Right, there you go. Right, a healthy masculine identity. Right, when you focus on who you are as a man, when you focus on who you are as a man, and you fully embrace who you are as a man, and you begin to express your masculine identity to the world, this is where you're going to begin to meet and connect and naturally attract compatible people. Because when you understand and you express your authentic masculine identity, your confidence and your ability to attract what is for you is natural. It's natural. It's authentic. It comes at a certain standard. It comes at a certain level. And water rises to its own level. So you get to meet the people who are actually compatible with you. You get to meet the people who it makes sense for them to connect with you. And so you don't have to fake. You don't have to funk. And then the greatest part is that, especially when dealing with women, remember, women are emotional and women are naturally insecure. So when they meet someone who has a masculine identity, right? They have a presence, a persona that is masculine, consistent, on point, benevolent, healthy, confident, well-adjusted, and shows a level of leadership. That woman falls for that man much easily, not just because of material things, but because she feels a certain way inside. She feels a certain ease because of his ability to show up in a consistent, quality, and healthy manner. That's what a masculine identity is all about. Getting to know and understand who you are, and then from that point of view, having the discipline to show up consistently. And once you can do that, you become a beacon. You shine as bright as the sun. You shine as consistently as the sun. And when you are able to shine as brightly and consistently as the sun, what happens? People literally depend on you for daytime, for light, for heat, for photosynthesis, for resources. You literally make the day possible. You understand? And this is why you have to develop that mastery, develop that consistency, develop that confidence and trust within oneself. And so when you start to meet people and attract people, they can also rely on that consistency as well. This is exactly what she's talking about. Having a healthy masculine identity. This is what women actually fall for, right? Now, I know a lot of people might think, yeah, but why do women always gravitate to men who are tall? And why do women always gravitate to men with a six-pack? The only reason why that happens is because height and physical fitness are quickly recognizable and surface level cosmetic attributes of a strong masculine identity. Okay, that's the only reason why that is. And here's what I mean. So when a woman falls for a man with a strong masculine identity, it's because she feels safe, protected, and that she can rely upon the character of that man. Okay, so in that same thought pattern, when a woman sees a man who is taller than her and has a more imposing physical stature, she automatically considers that he can be a protector for her. And so, like I said, it's a cosmetic representation of the more important qualities of a consistent masculine identity, a consistent, healthy masculine identity, right? Another example, when she sees a guy who has a six pack and looks physically fit, right? It is a cosmetic indicator that he has a certain level of consistency and discipline at the gym and with his diet. And so she automatically considers that because of his consistency and discipline with the gym, that he will also have a level of consistency and discipline when dealing with her. But again, it's only surface level, right? She's not going to know for sure until she truly gets to know that man after speaking with him, spending time with him, and so on and so forth. So yes, being tall, being fit, looking like you have a lot of money and things like that, it is a surface level cosmetic indicator that can draw a woman to you in general, right? But when the woman actually gets to know you, when the woman actually gets to spend time with the man and she realizes, oh, he only looks like he has money, right? But he's not consistent with his ability to manage his money, then that man automatically becomes unattractive, right? When she sees the tall guy, right? She walks up to him, looking up to him and feeling protected, but then she talks to him and she realizes that he's insecure about his height, or he feels goofy when he walks into a room and he's the tallest person. And so he has a low self-esteem. He automatically becomes unattractive, right? When she sees the guy with the six pack and he looks physically fit, and she talks to him and she realizes that he's actually vain and he spends more time in the mirror than she does admiring his six pack and his physique, right? But at the end of the day, he actually doesn't have any real confidence and he can't actually be her protector because he's too busy looking at himself in his reflection. And then he automatically becomes unattractive to her. Do you understand? So, not to say that there are no benefits of being tall, not to say that there are no benefits of having a lot of money, not to say that there are no benefits of being physically fit with a six pack. I'm not saying that those things don't have any benefits. What I'm saying is that if you don't have a masculine identity with a consistent character and a certain level of confidence behind those cosmetic attributes, then nothing else matters when the woman actually finds out who you are. And for that matter, nothing else matters until you, the man, actually find out who you are. You understand? Because look, there's a lot of us who we cling to certain external attributes of life to try to hide deficiencies and weaknesses that we have within ourselves. You understand? Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. I have certain imperfections myself. I have certain weaknesses myself that I am still working on to this day. You understand? I'm still striving for the highest version of my masculine identity. Okay, so I sit here and I talk to you guys, and that's not because I'm perfect, but it's because I understand the reality of the journey. And I've been guilty of the same thing, right? Looking towards certain outwardly and cosmetic things to either counterbalance or hide or try to make up for certain weaknesses that I know that I have in myself. And I think we're all guilty of doing it to some extent, all of us, right? But the bottom line is to understand that, to understand the truth of that, so we can play to our strength and still understand the truth of our weaknesses and continue to work on becoming a more well-rounded person as we create the best and highest version of our masculine identity. All right. So it's your boy, Miles Cunningham. Hope you guys.
All right, so there's a lot of stuff in here, but let's break it down to go upstream as far as possible. So this idea of a masculine identity comes from a man who does things his way. He's living life his way. He has boundaries. He has rules for engagement, like whether that's dealing with a woman or whether that's dealing with friends, his business, whatever it is. This man sets boundaries. He has his own code of conduct. He has his own morals, his own values, the things that he knows to be true. And this man is confident in the route that he's going in life. And this is why most younger men have a very hard time with this, because they have no idea who they are. They really don't have an identity yet. And this comes through living life. This comes through simply being alive and learning and growing, and masculinity is something that a man has to grow into. Um, I'm teaching my boys at a very young age these concepts. I'm teaching them how to conduct themselves in relationships with women, and I'm seeing huge dividends. Especially with my teenage boy. Well, he's almost 18, but the thing is that he's not going to really come into his masculine identity until he's lived life some and he's had failures and successes. It's going to take him living life to really grow into his masculine energy. And this is why older men have such an advantage over younger men, is because we've lived life, we've figured ourselves out for the most part. This is about figuring you out. But the thing I can tell you is that the energy that a man has when he has his masculine energy is that he puts off an aura that literally just radiates very, very far and wide. So when you go into a grocery store or you go into a department store or a football game, doesn't matter where you're at, the women literally pick up on this. They can smell your confidence. They can smell by your posture, the pheromones you're putting out. They literally, everything about you is screaming high value man, and it makes you irresistible. And that's why for married men, making sure that you're on point and making sure that you are the best man you can be every day, making sure that you are conquering your shortcomings, that you are overcoming yourself first and foremost, overcoming your shortcomings, overcoming your desire to please, overcoming your desire to be a yes man, and to be a man that leads and guides and that does life his way, so that your woman will desire to be in your orbit. And it is so incredibly important for men to have other men in their life to challenge them to become the best version of themselves, because a man cannot grow by the instruction of a woman. He's not made to. Men despise being corrected by women. Men inherently despise being corrected, instructed, and reproved by women. This is something that is made um, by God for men to do with other men. That's why men need men's spaces, because only being with other men can men feel safe to be corrected and to be reproved and to be taught how to do things. And it's absolutely imperative for men to have this network of godly men in their life to shape them. And that's the whole idea of iron sharpening iron. But I can tell you this, I had one man who was a bodybuilder that I coached, and he was ripped, head to toe, just had an amazing physique, and his wife wanted nothing to do with him. She was not attracted to him. She could care less that he had all these muscles and whatever. And he's like, "Oh man, I get attention all the time. I go to work and women just want me all the time, and I can't understand why my wife doesn't want me." And it's because his wife knows who he is, and it's exactly what he's talking about here. Is a man can have all these amazing features, and then when the woman gets to know him, he's lacking masculine character. He's needing her to validate him and to give him praise and to touch him, and he's needy. And I told him, that, you know, any woman that he got with, if he was going to cheat, or if he was going to leave his wife, the same thing would just happen over and over and over and over again. Because the problem is that he's still there. If he removes his wife from the picture and he brings a new woman in, the common denominator is him, and he's bringing the same insecurities into the new relationship. He's bringing the same flawed thinking, the same flawed actions into the new relationship. And this is why just starting over from scratch doesn't necessarily do anything. So when I worked with this man, I taught him how to be a man. I taught him how to grow up and to become a man, to overcome his pleasure seeking, to overcome his desire to appease and get the approval of his wife. And in doing all these things and beginning to live by his rules, to begin to have accountability and to set boundaries in his home for his wife and his children, his wife grew very attracted to him, to the point where he was almost tired of the amount of attention he was getting from his wife. That she was wanting sexual attention way more than he was even wanting. And originally, when I had met him, he was maybe, I mean, for his 11 months or longer that he hadn't had sex with his wife, and she was on the verge of leaving him. So the truth is, guys, that you become radiant and magnanimous. You become like a very strong magnet because of the aura that you put out. When you go out in public, you go to the gas station, you go to the grocery store, it doesn't matter where. When you have this kind of energy, you put off to other women that you are very secure in who you are, and that your world is the kind of world that is inviting to them, to where they want to come into your orbit and they want to be a part of the world that you're building. They want to get on your train, the one that you're driving. And that's why it's so important to work on your masculine identity, so that you can be the kind of man that your wife never wants to be without, the kind of man that a woman would never want to leave. Women don't leave men they're chasing and they're pursuing. And that's just that's the cold hard truth. This works in both dating and in marriage. Is that masculine identity is absolutely necessary, because the feminine cannot exist without the masculine. A woman cannot feel her feminine without the man's masculinity being present. And the thing is that's addicting in and of itself. When a woman is present with a man and she can feel his masculinity and his strength, and that he's a man who does things his own way, he's living life, leading his own life, and he's not beholden to pleasure seeking and whatnot, that's a turn on. That's the kind of world that she wants to come into. A man who has his own boundaries, a man who is not given in to small things such as pleasure seeking and validation seeking. And a lot, this is another thing too, is like, I love motorcycles. I have one. I think every man should have one. I think they're great. It's like a fishing boat. But I think the biggest thing is that a lot of men use cars, money, motorcycles, whatever, to compensate. Like this guy was talking about, Miles Cunningham was talking about, they use these things to compensate for areas that they're lacking in their masculine. But once a man has that masculine identity and that masculine nature, those things are just bonuses. Whether it be a motorcycle, a fast car, money, success, all those things. But the most important part is the masculine identity and the masculine nature, because she becomes addicted to the feeling she gets, the feminine feeling that she has, that she doesn't have to worry. She doesn't have to be the mother in the relationship. And she can be the ravaged. She can be ravaged by her man. Her man can take her to the bedroom whenever, and whenever he has that desire for her. That's the life that she wants. So it's a great video by Miles Cunningham, and we'll see you in the next one.